Hi everyone, my name is George Belleville. I'm a realtor in Maryland, and I'm creating this video to explain what happens during the home inspection process. And I'm making this video for both buyers and sellers because it's two sides of the same coin, and I just want to talk about what happens and what you should expect. So what happens with the home inspection, and I'm primarily going to be talking about the structural or mechanical inspection, but a lot of what I'm going to say is the same for all of them. So when people say home inspection, they're generally referring to the structural mechanical inspection, which is an inspection of the physical house. So normally what will happen is the buyer will schedule it, we'll let the seller know when it's going to be, make sure that works, and then the buyer and the buyer agent usually and the inspector will show up at the house. Now, one thing it is important to note, it is important that the seller not be at the house during the home inspection. It's not in the contract that that's a requirement, but this is a time for the buyer to learn about the house, get comfortable about the house, and have conversations and ask questions of the home inspector so they can learn more about the house. And it's actually a chance for them to get more comfortable with their decision. Everybody's heard of buyer's remorse. Sometimes the home inspection is the second time the buyer has seen the house. So as a seller, you want them to feel comfortable asking all those questions so they can learn more, feel more comfortable, and feel more confident that they made a good decision. I've had sellers stay at the house, argue with the home inspector the whole time, and the buyers terminated the contract. So we don't want that. So the seller should be gone, the inspection will take place, and the inspector will go from the very top of the roof to the bottom of the basement and everything in between. Doors, windows, roof, attic, everything you can think of in that house, they're going to look at. So what'll happen is they'll do the inspection and then they'll have a finding. And usually they will find a lot of things. Most of them are pretty minor. No house is perfect. Very rare to have a home inspection without at least 2 or 3 things, even in a new construction build. So they will do that. They'll run the dishwasher. They'll turn the stove on, the oven on. They'll do all the things. And then they'll have their findings. And then they will give you their results to the buyer, and then the buyer will decide what it is they want to do from there. So the current Maryland contract allows 2 choices. You can either cancel if you're not happy with the results, or you can ask for repairs. Once you ask for repairs, you can't then cancel unless you can't come to terms. You can't change your mind. So it's terminate or ask for repairs and negotiate. And in the current market, there aren't as many home inspections as there usually are just because the market is so competitive. But in a normal market, say the home inspector might find 15 things. You might say, only 5 of those are really important to me. You prepare an addendum that tells the seller what you want them to do about it, and then they have a certain amount of time to decide what they want to do back, and you go back and forth till you come to an agreement. That's how it works. So chimney inspection, it's a different inspection, but it works the same way. You have it inspected, you get findings, you make a determination of what you want to ask for, you present them to the seller, and the seller decides what they're going to do. I'm not going to get into well and septic. Those addenda to the contract are a little bit different, and it depends on what county you're in. But in general, it's the same thing. You do the inspection, you have a finding, you decide what you want to do about it, you present it to the seller, they respond, and then you work it out. So that's basically what's going to happen. It takes, I'll say 3 hours. Some take more or less, but minimum of 3 hours is about how long it takes for the structural mechanical inspection. And if you can do some of those inspections at the same time, and it's much less inconvenience for the seller. And of course, we as agents appreciate it. If you could do the home inspection, chimney, radon, all of those things all at the same time while we're there, obviously it's much more convenient for everybody. It's not always possible though. So that's really what happens. And for the buyers that are working with us real quick, one thing I do want to say is once we go under contract, we tell the buyers, you call the inspectors, you set the date and time that works for you. We'll let the sellers know, don't worry about our schedule. It's too complicated to try to work us in there. If you pick a time that we can't be there, we'll get another agent from our office to be there. So once we're under contract, we tell our buyers that whatever inspections we're doing, you schedule them, make it work for you. We make sure it's okay with the seller, and then we figure out a way for us to be there. So hopefully that all makes sense. It's kind of a broad overview. I didn't want to get too technical. There's a lot of videos on YouTube that you can watch of different home inspectors explaining the true process. And I actually have it's about a 25-minute video, I think, of me walking through a house and looking at the things I look at while I'm showing a house that are kind of cover what the home inspection does as well. So I hope that all makes sense. If you have any questions, you should have our contact information, but if you don't, it's in the information below. Have a great day.